So I'm hoping people will be affected, will be changed a little bit. And it's only one weekend, so I can't say, and tell your friends to come next week. Hopefully they'll tell their friends to go see it because they're going to have a good time. Uh, like I said, emotionally, it's an incredible roller coaster. Because it's a fun play to watch, and because hopefully they'll empathize, and there's nothing wrong with that. They'll laugh, they'll cry, they'll be really glad they saw this play. Hi, this is Daniel Mora. I'm playing Rude Boy in The Last Angry Brown Hat by Alfredo Ramos, an award-winning play, by the way. And we are in San Isidro at Teatro Máscara Mágica, so don't you miss it. So to learn more, listen to this conversation. You'll dig it. Theater is life. Theater is it's so fun. Like with this play, I'm having so much fun as Rude Boy because he's such a tragic figure. He goes through all the highs and all the lows. He went to war and he was broken because he saw a friend of his just literally blown to pieces in front of him, and it broke him. And he comes back and he tries to self-medicate, and then years later he shows up at this reunion at the funeral of one of the Brown Berets, and he's been waiting years to tell his friends what he went through, to have them understand. And I can't give the ending because you got to come see the play. Well, why it's very easy because Bill's producing it, and he's a very very good. He's my first director. He's my first teacher in the arts, and I love him to death. So that was very simple, very easy. When he said, "Hey," I said, "Yeah." Now, when Fredo wrote the play, it was part of a contest for Disney, I believe. And the first prize was they would have a professional production of the play. And I saw that production I believe in '93 at Plaza de la Raza over here in Lincoln. Is it Lincoln Heights? Yeah, I think it's Lincoln Heights. And I just fell in love, and I was blown away by the overall arching message and the intimacy and the moments between the characters. They're so intimate. Excuse me. And the micro and the macro of it, like between the characters, the relationship, even the relationship to the dead guy, Frankie. They're so well done, well written, well rounded, so real. And this play is very real. Everybody. I've done this will be the fourth production of it because I love it. And we always get standing ovations. People connect to this play. In Chicago, we just did it right before COVID, where I met my first ghost, by the way. The ghost got so excited, we saw him 2 nights. We'd have a Q&A afterwards because it was brought just that one weekend, and everybody either had an uncle who went to Nam, their dad went to Nam, they're veterans, or somebody who was a Brown Beret or knew a Brown Beret, or it was such a tumultuous time. I remember one knew a Black Panther at the time, so it's just the whole world was kind of like today. So it just really moves people, and that's why I love the play so much. And then I believe I forgot, like 90, I don't know, a few years later, Fredo called me and he said, "Hey, Danny, I'm doing Brown Hat. I want you to be in it." And I immediately said yes. He says, I said, who? Either Willie or Rude Boy. You pick. I said, Rude Boy. Give me Rude Boy. I want Rude Boy. Because he's people really relate to the character because he breaks your heart. You know, he went through such crap. The other characters also go through a lot in this play, or in this play relate or tell the tale of their years in high school and how that they've been harboring that for the longest time. But Rude Boy, you know, this is him and Willie. They've been waiting for this moment for a long, long time, whether they knew it or not. Willie has a very, very intense issue that I can't divulge, but it's a life and death kind of an issue. So bright. Um, and he kind of ends the play. But Rude Boy, um, he finally vomits everything he's been holding in since now. And he's an addict. You know, he's just like a lot of people. Unfortunately, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, Wounded Warrior Project. That's a charity that I give to every month. Um, Especially Vietnam, because lately, ever since Iraqi freedom or whatever, we kind of learned our lesson not to blame the messenger, you know, just the message or the writers of the message. But in Vietnam, so I was in the army right after Vietnam. I never deployed, by the way. I was a paratrooper, 82nd Airborne. But we still caught a lot of the crap from Vietnam because, you know, when they came back, you know, people would spit in their face. They went through what they went through, and that's how people received them. And my uncle Abe, he was a Vietnam vet. And it was funny, he always had a bump up here because he got with it. He did like 2 or 3 tours, actually. He got hit with a grenade, and at the time, they couldn't pull the piece out without creating further damage. So they just left it in there. He always had a big bump here. And he was this big, gregarious personality. He was just the greatest guy. And and I think that's part of also what broke him, because when he came back, you know, they probably spat in his face. I mean, my character, I mean, both my Uncle Abe and um, the character, Rude Boy. So he's been carrying all this crap forever and a day, and he finally gets an opportunity to tell the guys what happened. Because everybody has a reason in this play to make themselves understood. Louis has a deep, dark secret that he kept from the guys. Willie has one that he's been keeping for years. So does Jojo. Jojo is more like the character who's in denial. He forgot it just because he went to Harvard all of a sudden. And, you know, his character choices are his character choices, but it's like he's in denial, you know? He, which, you know, it's kind of an interesting dilemma, because people want to improve their lives, so they go to better schools, and generally they're white, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just is what it is. And then they better their schools, and they kind of pull away from their roots, from their origin, from who they were at one time. So that's his thing. But Rude Boy, he's just, you know, why am I such a loser? And he admits it yeah, I'm a big time loser. He wants to be understood. He wants people to know what he went through, why it affected him the way it did, why he is who he is now. He just wants to be understood. And that's one of the great things about this play is it gives each character equal weight. They all have their moment in the sun. And it's how we connect also with us as the guys, the kids in high school, and now men, adults with families, and so on and so forth. But then the play also looks at where we have triumphed, if you will, in terms of the Chicano movement, and where we failed. And there's a lot of a lot of little plot points that come out in these revelations that it's, you know, all of a sudden every minute is very, very action packed, if you will, or emotionally packed, or it's got so much going on in so little time, and it's so it flows so naturally. It doesn't seem like somebody's trying to cram all their message into 1 hour or whatever it may be. And that's why I fell in love with it originally. And Rude Boy being the tragic character, you know, the broken soldier, the broken man, the broken Chicano, who's still hanging in there somehow. People love the character, and so did I, and I was blessed to get it. I've done Willie. I've done 2 Rude Boys and 1 Willie. And Willie also he's very equally weighted with Rude Boy, because they're very intimate in their friendship. Even though Willie hates everything about Rude Boy because he does drugs, he has no sense of fidelity, you know, he's a loser, so on and so forth. And Willie, he's been trying to hold down the fort in the barrio for the movimiento, for everybody. He's still the guy that picks up the flag in a microsecond and let's go, guys, come on, you remember? He's the idealist, and they all have to move on in one way or another, and when they do so, it's beautiful, each one, because it takes a certain kind of person now. Even though, like, women now make up 5% of all military personnel, but there was a time when it was very, very little. So when I say man, it's because the vast majority were men. It takes a special kind of man to step up and say, yes, I will defend you, I will defend them, I will defend this entire country and put in my life at risk. And if I die, so be it. It takes a very special kind of person to do that. And not all men are like that. Not all people are like that. But those who are, so that's why they hold a very, very, very dear place in my heart. Even though, like I said, I never deployed. But I have a lot of friends who have deployed. And they're good friends. The characters have very interesting moments in this play. And it ends on that. I shouldn't give it yet. On that type of moment. There's moments. And there's a great moment at the end. You know, all endings are that way. But the characters are, they're very contradictory, because Willie is the he's the rock of the neighborhood, of his life, and who still embodies Chicanismo. And my character, he's a drug addict. He's just, you know, it's always getting kicked out of some girl's apartment, you know, because he can't hold down a relationship. So they're completely contradictory, yet they're kindred spirits somehow. And it's evident during the play. And then they're polar opposites, and they completely repel each other. And it's wonderful to see that back and forth, and that it happens so flawlessly. And that's what I love about Fredo's play. To me, it's the best play I've ever done. And I've done like 3 Shakespeare plays. And, you know, he is a master too, but this one, it just speaks to me on all levels. Like I said before, on the macro and on the micro. It's a wonderful play. Well, there's a little something for everyone, and it's hard to really speak about it without giving away the plot points. Because there is the teacher who went back to the barrio and gave back, and then there's the screenwriter who is highly educated but in denial. There's the regular working guy who's married, um, and just a regular guy, just a hard working man, a simple man. Um, and then there's the vet who lost his shit. Oh, I don't know if I can cuss. I'm sorry. Yeah, who, and there's some cussing in this play, but having done so many productions and with different audience, we took it to Chicago, we took it to Minnesota, here in LA. The original production went everywhere: Smithsonian Institute, Wellesley College. They went to Harvard. It went everywhere, and everybody, like I said, in Chicago, everybody had their own anecdotal evidence of their lives and how it's touched them. But everybody relates. Everybody relates because the characters are so different. And yet you see how they naturally progressed into who they are now. So it's a very diverse play too. Even though it's all Chicanos all the time, it's very diverse in the characters and the plot points, and everybody can really relate to it. You don't have to be Chicano or even know one, because people go down their own paths. It is at times very emotional. It is at times, there's a lot of laughing in this place because my character, Rude Boy, he was kind of like the class clown. So he's always got something, like somebody said once, stupid to say, but really clever stupid. He's a clown, but he's not the butt of the joke. And he's wise enough to know when he is the butt of the joke to just let it wash off him and come right back with a bigger zinger. And that's what I love about him. All this happens without it feeling forced in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think everybody, regardless of who you are, can relate strongly to this play, because it doesn't have to be Chicanos, it could be blacks with their idealism in the chaotic 60s. Anybody, whites, because like I said, it's on the macro, it's all about the movimiento, but it's also about just relationships amongst good friends. And here's the kicker, the dead guy. There is that. Frankie is so present in this play that you'll think there were 5 characters. And when we take the bound, there's only 4 of us. Some people may think, so where's Frankie? Because he's so present, because of all the relationships that he had with everyone as a friend, and then with the group and the movement. And that's another marvel of this play that Fredo conjured up. It's like the dead guy, you'll never forget his name. I want to see people's faces in the audience. I want to see them, I want to hear them laugh. I want to see their tears, because their tears will tell me that they understand. They understand the point of the play. They understand the characters. And hopefully it'll change how they treat everybody, not just, maybe a vet that they know, or a cousin who was a vet, or or a teacher or whatever it may be, hopefully they'll understand a little bit and change the way, obviously for the good, the way they treat people in general, not just characters, not just people like these characters. Because having the ability to empathize and having the ability to understand other people is it doesn't have to be just a God-given gift. It's within reach of most people, and don't fight it. It's okay to empathize, even if you disagree overall. So I'm hoping people will be affected, will be changed a little bit. And it's only one weekend, so I can't say, and tell your friends to come next week. But when it ever pops up, hopefully they'll tell their friends to go see it. Because Bill is a great director. He's done wonderful productions, and he still likes to have fun. And his productions show that. And like I said, the theater is the people. We just lost the San Diego rep. I did a play there. Did I do a couple? I forgot. Because he really puts on plays that speak to us. Obviously, Teatro Máscara Mágica, it speaks to the Spanish-speaking population, but not just. He does it in such a way that you don't have to be a Spanish speaker to watch and love the production. So it's a great entity because Bill's a great guy. Well, it's a short play, so even if you hate it, you don't have to sit there for too long. But you won't. The theater, I never worked there. It's I think it looks like a converted church or something like that. Yeah, but it's really cute. It's very intimate. It's very intimate, and that's another thing. This is a big play, and it's a small play at times, and I think the space is perfect for it. Because I performed at the Fresno Auditorium, 15,000 people or something like that. Is that what it is? I forgot. Anyway, I've done big venues, and people still get it. Like I remember when we were in Fresno, it was a comedy. It was a straight comedy, and you'd set up the joke, and they had to get it way up there in the mezzanine, and then you give them the punchline. It has to get there. There's a little bit of a lag, and then they laugh, and you have to hold for the laugh. Otherwise, they'll miss the next line. In most theater, you can just wait for it to die down, then jump in with the next line. This thing had a lag on it, like when reporters, report, and you hear the anchor ask them something, and they just for a couple seconds, and then they respond. It was that kind of a thing. But this space, it's right there. You're a part of the action almost. So it's very intimate. You'll dig that. Hi, this is Daniel Mora. I'm playing Rude Boy in The Last Angry Brown Hat by Alfredo Ramos. And we are producing it next weekend at Teatro Máscara Mágica in San Isidro. It's one of the greatest plays you'll ever see. It's a very moving play. And you really don't want to be one of those that everybody tells you, oh, you should have been there. It was great. So I will see you at the theater. Rude Boy will be counting on you.